Hey. Time for another Out of This World story from rSpace. Sometimes the people you love most have the best shot at stabbing you in the back. Today on rSpace, it hits too close to home. Up first, the real challenge isn't just dealing with betrayal. It's figuring out who's still on your side when trust has been shattered. I've been married for a month, and my husband is having an affair with my sister. He's been having the affair with my sister since before we got engaged back in November. My sister is 8 months pregnant. Her husband was the one who discovered the affair, and he is divorcing her. He had to get a test done on the advice of his aunt, who is a solicitor, to make sure their 1.5-year-old son was his child. But my sister doesn't yet know if her husband, or my husband, is the father of her baby. I'll be seeking a divorce even though my husband wants us to go to counseling and stay married. I'm an advocate, a barrister, so I won't have any trouble finding a solicitor at least. The law only takes adultery into consideration as to why the marriage broke down and not for how the assets are divided or settled. However, at least I will not have to pay him support since we were only married for a month before I moved out of our flat. I will never speak to my sister again no matter how much she begs me to forgive her, and I'm not staying married to my husband no matter how much he begs me to stay. I don't believe either of them when they say they are sorry. Not one bit. I have posted an update on this post. Let's see what some of the top comments say from the community. First up, I'm so sorry for their betrayal. I would never speak to her ever again either. Next comment says, since you've only been married for a month, is an annulment an option? So sorry for what you're going through. Sis and hubby are both trash. One more commenter says, they're only sorry they got caught. Dang, OP, this is one of the worst ways to be cheated on. F them both. You're better than them. I hope the kid is your husband's, so you and your ex-brother-in-law don't have to be tied to these losers anymore. The next comment says, OP, the law may limit your legal entitlements. However, the threat of exposure and alleging adultery and the publication of his and your sister's adulterous acts may cause his willingness to provide you a stipend settlement in excess of the customary entitlement. Absent that, blow them both up with family, friends, acquaintances, and social media. Both merit the absolute worst. Good luck to you. Please keep us apprised. Update, April 19th, 2025, 10 months later. Update, I've been married for a month and my husband is having an affair with my sister. People who say you should get over it when someone cheats on you have no idea what it's like. Last June, I, female 37, found out my husband, male 39, was having an affair with my sister, female 27. I've been married for a month. Their affair began before I was engaged. My sister's husband, male 27, was the one who first found out. When it was first discovered, my sister was about 8 months pregnant with a baby girl, and it turned out my ex-husband is the father. Apparently, he was furious when he found out because he doesn't want children. My ex-husband and I met in an online dating group for people who don't want children, or to date people who have children from former relationships. My ex-husband and my sister both begged me to forgive them. My sister said she can't help it that she fell in love with him, and my ex-husband said he couldn't be blamed for what happened. I couldn't believe they both thought what they did could be forgiven and forgotten. My ex-husband didn't want to divorce, and neither did my sister from my former brother-in-law. I'm divorced now. I'm an advocate, known as a barrister in the rest of the UK, so I was fortunate to already know the best solicitors who could represent me in my divorce. Since I was only married for a month before I sought a divorce and moved out of our flat, I did not have to pay my ex-husband a maintenance, and the divorce did not take long. It's a different story for my sister and my former brother-in-law. They were married for longer. They own property, and they have a son together. He was 17 months old when the affair was discovered. My sister may end up having to pay spousal and child maintenance since she earns more. Their divorce is ongoing. I haven't spoken with my former brother-in-law since I first left my ex-husband, but I feel badly for him. He was devastated when he found out about the affair and the baby not being his child. He didn't deserve any of that. People who say you should just get over it when someone cheats on you have no idea. I've never felt pain like this before. It wasn't even emotional. It was physical as well. I'm still heartbroken over this. I had no idea anything had hurt so much. I'm going to start seeing a counselor, but it doesn't feel like enough. I haven't seen or spoken to my ex-husband since I moved out of our flat. The only contact during the divorce was through our solicitors. He's dead to me, and so is my sister. I haven't seen or spoken to my sister since shortly after I left my ex-husband, and I never want to see her again. She's dead to me. I don't think I'll ever heal from this. I'm fortunate my parents, my other sister, and most of my family support me and have disowned my traitor sister and no longer have contact with her. Anyone who tells me I should forgive her or chooses her over me gets removed from my life with no second chance. I don't ever want to hear anything about either one of them again. From what my ex-husband's solicitor said during my divorce, They, sister and ex-husband, plan to marry after she's granted a divorce. I haven't heard anything about either one of them since then. I try not to even think about either of them. They were two of the people I loved most in the world, and they did something that I'll never heal from. They are selfish, and they destroyed me. Anyone who says I should get over this, or forgive and forget, has no idea what it's like. Let's check back in for some top comments. The first one goes like this. Thank you for the update. You and your brother-in-law are both making the best possible decision. You're right. Your ex and your ex-sister are horrible, selfish people. They hurt so many people. Do whatever you can to protect your peace and mental health. I'm so sorry they did this to you. Honestly, I'd recommend blocking anyone who says you need to forgive them and move on. No, you don't. You may at some point in the future need to explore forgiveness from the point of view of easing the weight on your heart. But don't feel pressured to offer forgiveness to either of them. I wish you the best of luck in the future. The next person says, guarantee the only reason sister's marrying the ex at this point is because he's all she has, since she's been disowned by the entire family. It's a marriage of convenience. Something tells me that's going to be one toxic relationship, as I'm sure there'll be resentment there from both of them, and they'll have no one to blame but themselves. All I can say for the ex who never wanted kids, karma, well, I feel for the kid. I hope the kid doesn't grow up with parents that resent them. They don't deserve that. The next comment says, I'm so sorry. Never mind your ex. What a betrayal from your own sister. I couldn't even imagine. And one more comment. Do something really special for yourself. A trip, an activity, a shopping spree, whatever it is. You deserve whatever small joys you can find. As much as it hurts, think about them together. Her just having had a baby and he gets distant and angry or aloof, she will be forever looking over her shoulder, wonder if he's cheating. She deserves to live in that misery. They might stay together, but they'll be miserable. Claiming he can't be blamed is laughable. He made conscious choices over and over again. And your sister, falling in love, doesn't absolve her either. She didn't just trip and land in someone else's marriage. That was fully mapped out. The fact that they're planning to marry now just feels like damage control. It's easier to convince themselves it was meant to be than to face the wreckage they caused. But they've alienated your entire family and will spend the rest of their relationship trying to outrun the way it started. If your spouse cheated on you with your sibling, who would you be more furious with and why? Up next, the universe always has a way of balancing things out. Ex left me for my best friend, now wants to apologize. Hopefully this won't need an update, as the events that took place happened roughly 2 years ago. So I, now 25 female, was dating this guy we'll call Alan, 27. Things seemed to go relatively well. We were introducing each other to each other's families. I offered to let him move in after he started having issues with his landlord. Looking back, yes, I realized these were some of my first signs, especially since he tried saying we started dating sooner than we actually had. But on with the story. At some point later on in the relationship, I started hanging out with an old friend from school we'll call Tina. Tina was a grade or two below me when I went to school with her, and as far as my knowledge went, we never really had any issues. But in hindsight, you never really see the snakes in the grass until they've bitten you. She ended up talking more and more with me progressively, eventually started to hang out with us every day, even to the point that, and I can't believe I'm admitting this, we offered to involve her in our bedroom activities. From this point, Alan started saying that he wanted to involve Tina in our relationship if we wanted to continue to sleep with her. Keep in mind, I was convinced that she would never try to hurt me like that, so I agreed. But once I did, I opened a can of worms that couldn't be closed. He started saying I was the roommate and that she was his girlfriend. My friends started pointing out how they'd act when I wasn't around. I'd come under ridicule for circumstances that got out of my control. And yes, though some of their frustrations with me were valid, it didn't excuse what they were so blatantly doing in my face. Nor did it change how they were actively trying to act like it wouldn't affect me or hurt my feelings. When I confronted Alan on it, I asked him, "What happened to all the promises you made me? You said you wanted to marry me." This dummy's response was, "There's always the next pretty face." From that moment on, it all became clear. Rose-colored glasses were off. My resolve was cold and composed. I realized my friendship and relationship was a dead horse, and I was senselessly beating it. I left a note that read, "You'll never hear from me again," on a pile of his stuff. When I came back, in handwriting that looked more like Tina's was, "Good, that's what I want." So I packed up all my crap, sold what I could, and moved out and moved on. I started actively working on maintaining a positive working friendship with my kids' dad. I started making better cleaning and health habits for myself. That night that they left, I went to a gym and beat the ever-loving crap out of a punching bag to work out my frustrations. And my gosh, can I say that it really helped? Left with some bloody knuckles and a satisfied grin on my face. Fast forward to now. I've recently been learning what happened after that all went down. If you're wondering how I'm doing, I've managed to put my money into some investment accounts to ensure my children's future and still have more money coming in to add to them. I have 2 kids from prior relationships, not with Alan, so it made cutting him off overall quite easy. I'm renting my own home that's much more manageable now, and I genuinely love waking up to an amazing view of the sunrise over the prairies. I have managed to buy my own car as well. Anyway, back to the juice of the story. When everything took off, they told me they wouldn't date right away. Survey says that was definitely a lie. They got married almost instantly after they moved their ungrateful butts out of my old house. Alan's fancy car ended up breaking down about a year ago, and now, yep, I've heard they're getting a divorce, and it's quite messy. To be completely honest, the way I heard it had ended, I wouldn't have wished that on Tina. She's all right last time she messaged me. She was more upset that the relationship ended than her own safety. No, we aren't friends again. I guess it was bad enough that she was the one to message me first after they split to find out if he had messaged me or not. Not long after, he starts messaging me asking how I am, deletes his message. Then messages again saying he just wanted to apologize and that he noticed that life was going good for me and things. When I tell you I audibly laughed out loud, it might be an understatement. I'm pretty sure there was a snort in there somewhere. To keep you from wondering, no, I haven't replied to him. I don't really plan on it, as my note wasn't just a promise to them. It was a promise to myself. It's not my fault that he didn't understand what "you'll never hear from me again" meant when he decided to leave me for the girl that was okay with putting a pecker that was in her homegirl's booty in her mouth. As for me, I've been doing amazing. On top of what I mentioned before, I've been learning who was there and for me and who was never there in the first place. Who was there for the good and the bad, and who only wanted to see me go through the bad. Glad to say, I've been making new friends, finding old ones, and spending quality time with my kids and family. It's wild how some people only show their true colors once they think they've won something. Joke's on them though. Looks like the prize came with engine trouble. Also the fact that both of them reached out after everything fell apart? Classic. Nothing like a little chaos in their world to remind them who they lost. Good on you for not replying. Some bridges deserve to stay burned. What's the pettiest, most satisfying form of closure you've ever gotten? Let us know below. And thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time.